spinner you bring in.
Yeah, I think he'll exclusively be used from the far end of the ground, not from the end we're watching from the pavilion end here. Because of that wind, the strength of the wind, it can't be overstated. I reckon Mala might not be a bad shout after this one. 7 in a spell's a lot for any fast bowler, particularly Zhao's the quickest of the trio of pace bowlers. Arif Sheikh's just a little dibbly dobbler, medium pacer.
आओगे?
His cross leaves that alone, gets us to the end of the 25th. It's the halfway stage of the
नहीं
first
होगा.
innings. Just explain the structure once more. We're on the road to the
नहीं होगा तुम आओ ना.
2027 ODI World Cup. 3 co-hosts: South Africa, Zimbabwe, Namibia. Namibia's first co-host to
क्यों
the
तुम
venue World
ऐसे
Cup.
बोल रहे
Great
हो?
to see that at their new venue. South Africa and Zimbabwe qualify automatically as
मैं
full
तुम्हें
member
वही तो
hosts.
सेंड किया हूँ,
Then
तुम्हें
the
कॉल
next
किया.
8 sides, which would be the top 8 that aren't those 2 in the ODI rankings. As it stands, it means that the 2 full members that wouldn't get there automatically would be Ireland and the West Indies. They'll join the top 4 from this league in the Cricket World Cup qualifier, and they'll also join the 4 from the playoff, which will be 4 selected from the bottom 4 in this league and the top 2 from each of the 2 challenge leagues in an 8-team competition that'll have to be played in Q1 of 2027. The qualifier itself probably Q2 2027. And it's just a fantastic structure, isn't it? The inaugural Cricket World Cup League 2 is exceptional, and this one, it's boiling up to be even better.
Yeah, again, you have more games, there's more on the line, you get more teams to push up, and I think every team is better in this league too for having played that first one, having had that experience against the highest level.
And better by a distance. They've all moved on quite, like the standard is really raised.
It's really raised. I think the US, they are miles more exceptional than what they were.
You know, an appeal for a stumping as Lamachani comes back into the attack, but Leask says, hold on, I've kept my foot in and it's my birthday. You can't be doing that to me.
Yeah, didn't want to walk off an unhappy man. Aaron Jones would say, he had a rough birthday here at Grand Prairie.
Didn't he just before? It was his 30th birthday as well during the T20s. And then dropped for the ODI. God, feel sorry for Aaron. Big shout out to AJ if he's watching. Good move this to get Lamachani on. Googly picked by Leask. These 2 have played in a couple of different franchise comps before, know each other well.
Yeah, and it'll be a good battle between these 2 as well. Again, you've mentioned that Leask likes the counter-attack. He plays at over 100 strike rate, really in ODI cricket, so he likes to score runs, feel bad on ball. Lamachani is really bowling well. Much better length today. This was the first one that his line whipped away, and that's the first time that got tested. The rope gunner Casey actually does really well to get to that boundary rope. It looked like it was going to escape away, but Lamachani, today he's been very consistently on off and middle stump, and that's where he's been the most effective.
He looks in a nice rhythm today, Lamachani, doesn't he? That's got away. It beats Dipender Singh Airi. Just a bit of a drag down. Maybe the first one he hasn't got exactly where he'd like. At least does like to play his own game. Hammers that so powerfully through the offside. 4 more.
Yeah, spotted the length and a bit of width on offer. He knew it was turning away from him, so he knew he just had the license to free his hands. And from that point, Leask was never going to miss out on that delivery. Again, Lamachani, we've mentioned his lengths have been very good today. Struggled with that against the USA. He's got to get back to being fuller.
Better zip out of the hand this time. The other one was just didn't come out properly. Question from Nikesh Dawadi. He says, at Cricket Badge, hey Lenny, quick question. Why is it so hard for wrist spinners to get their length right every time? I see them struggle with their length more than finger spinners. It's a good observation. I can speak strongly on this because I've bowled more bad balls than any wrist spinner in the history of the game. It's an incredibly difficult art. It is by far the most difficult thing you can do. Most leg spinners have a 3-finger grip as opposed to a 2-finger grip that all finger spinners have. Some even have a 4-finger grip with the thumb resting on the ball. You're trying to move the ball against all the rotations of your body. As we see, I don't know what's happened up there in the car park. Maybe the fire brigade are just testing out their hoses. Hopefully they're not having to put a fire out. There's a bit of activity up there. So you're kind of forcing everything against the natural rotations of your body. Your bowling with your wrist. So
में तुम नहीं कॉल
It's a
पे
lot
थी
about
उसके बाद
muscle memory.
मैं
It's a lot about
10:53 54 उसके
trying to
बाद
land the
तुम्हारा
ball in a
54 में
similar
कॉल
area
आया
and getting
वही
into a
कॉल
rhythm.
बीजी
That's
बता
why
रहा
a lot
होगा
of leg spinners won't like being taken off when they are in a
हाँ
good rhythm. And I know in the modern game you don't want
हाँ
to
तो
bowl
मैं भी 2 बार कॉल किया वही तो बीजी आ रहा
bowlers
होगा ना
through so the batters can get settled against them. But certainly in my time, if you had a leg spinner in a good rhythm, you just let him wheel
हाँ
away
तो
and
एक
go
बार
and
तो
go and
बीजी
go.
बता रहा होगा ना
In the modern game, they get more protection. That one will go over the top. As Karen KC it is that replaces Gulshan Jah, not Kushal Malla. And that's why the other day we were talking about that in-out field for Kushal Bertel, the other wrist spinning option in this team. Give them protection. Don't allow them to be hit for too many boundaries. They get taken out of the attack. And also love them. Love your leg spinners because they take wickets and they create X-factor moments. And they are practicing the most difficult art in our sport, bar none.
Yeah, 100%. Again, it's so difficult because you're not able to just guide your wrist straight down. Your wrist has to come over top of the ball, fighting you, as you mentioned, and they just create those moments. Rashid Khan is one of the best bowlers in the world, in T20 bowlers. He's such a hot commodity.
It's a lot about trying to land the ball in a similar area and getting into a rhythm. That's why a lot of leg spinners won't like being taken off when they are in a good rhythm. And I know in the modern game you don't want to bowl bowlers through so the batters can get settled against them, but certainly in my time, if you had a leg spinner in a good rhythm, you just let him wheel away and go and go and go. In the modern game, they get more protection. That one will go over the top. As Karen KC it is that replaces Gulshan Jah, not Kushal Malla. And that's why the other day we were talking about that in-out field for Kushal Bertel, the other wrist spinning option in this team. Give them protection. Don't allow them to be hit for too many boundaries. They get taken out of the attack. And also love them. Love your leg spinners because they take wickets and they create X-factor moments. And they are practicing the most difficult art in our sport, bar none.
Yeah, 100%. Again, it's so difficult because you're not able to just guide your wrist straight down. Your wrist has to come over top of the ball, fighting you, as you mentioned, and they just create those moments. Rashid Khan is one of the best bowlers in the world, in T20 bowlers. He's such a hot commodity.
This time, and slowly, ever so slowly, the finger goes up. It's so slow, it took an age to go up, and Leask, well, he is not happy with the decision one little bit. Jermaine Lindo took a long time thinking about it, and then it was a slow finger of death, almost a la Rudy Kurtzen. This replay is going to be interesting.
Going to be very interesting. Again, this is brilliant. This is the art of seam bowling. It's pitched up, swung in, has it come off the bat? That's the real question. That's what Leask indicated straight away. As soon as the finger goes up, if we could just hold the replay, you'll see him show his bat right there. He's saying it's come off the bat, and he's let it go too. He's very unhappy. It's not the birthday he wanted, Leask, and just looking like he was going to get going. Six wicket falls.
Well, Bal, we're on the wrong end of some decisions in the T20s. This time, they've got one going their way. Michael Leask is furious, and probably just as well we've come off that shot, because I'm not sure if that bat may be thrown down the Grand Prairie tunnel. He could find himself in a bit of bother. Mark Watt comes to the crease. Big moment in the game. There was probably 4 or 5 decisions that didn't go their way in the T20s. That, and he is.
Give him a shout out for me. I'm a huge fan. He's truly one of the best associate cricketers in the world.
Good news and bad news for you, Rakesh. I hope Kyle Coates doesn't mind me saying this. Kyle Coates, he's at Euro Disney in Paris, and he was having a sneak watch while the kids were, I think, on the rides quickly, so I don't think he's still watching. Like, the technology is phenomenal. The Kyle Coates is on his holidays, rightly after a long summer of coaching, with the kids, and he can just open up the phone, stick it onto ICC.tv.
There you go.
And see how his country are going.
Hopefully one day it's a cricket red zone, cricket hot zone, something of that nature.
Cricket hot zone, like that name. Probably an even better name we can come up with. We're going to run a quick single, 2 Powdle. It's well to his left, so that's a good call. If you're watching at home and you think a cricket red zone would be a good idea, what would you call it? The wicket zone?
Wicket zone, would it be something about the crease? Would it be
The run zone?
zone?
See if you've got an idea at home. So we're comparing what is the kind of multi-game view of an NFL Sunday, which they call the NFL Red Zone. What would you call the cricket equivalent? Use that hashtag CWCL2, which is Cricket World Cup League 2, or message directly at Cricket Badges me, Andrew Leonard, my co-commentator Aman Patel, double A MAN Patel. He's at AP Sports News _ as well as KC's bowled a really good comeback over. Another bowling change that's worked. Everything going Powdle's way today so far. Driven and a little bit aerially, and Dipender Singh Ari gets the diving stop out, and with the left-hander at the crease, I wonder, is it Dipender Singh Ari time? 27 bowled, 91 for 6.
The move to get back Karan KC is actually really interesting because the fact that there's still some clouds, but you can start to see the sun peer through. He's just trying to get any last bit of swing out of the ball. It's actually really smart, I think, for Rohit Baldwin's case, just looking to be aggressive. And I thought that was maybe the one thing that was missing from their bowling 2 days ago. Just they weren't as aggressive when they needed to be. And I think this has been really good from them.
Shreya Gamir watching on from Kathmandu. He says, what do you think of the addition of the big names for the inaugural Nepal Premier League? You've seen Jimmy Neesham, Ben Cutting, and now Martin Guptill signed. This is driven into the offside. I think it's great news, and I think that the one thing I would stand over, having been to Kathmandu, I think it's over 30 times now, is it's one of the best cities in the world. And I love the fact that that's going to be opened up to new people from different backgrounds. That we're going to have New Zealand cricketers there, we're going to have Australian cricketers there, South African players there, lots of those from the associate nations too. I think we've seen a Pakistani international signed as well. So yeah, really, really encouraging. Now all they're going to do is come and have a great experience and then spread the word about how passionate the fans are, how brilliant the city is. And a lot of these franchise leagues, understandably, is how the players enjoy things off the field as well. It's a great golf course up at the Gokarna Forest Resort, the most amazing nature, which I know a lot of the players will get up to. There's great cafes, there's fantastic music. There's almost always some kind of a festival on. We're at the start of Tihar now, aren't we? So happy Tihar to everyone who is starting those celebrations. That's the same as Diwali in India?
I think it's very similar, Festival of Lights.
Same times, right?
Same time, yeah. Diwali started today as well, so happy Diwali, happy Tihar. Whoever's watching, enjoying the holiday. And
Googly only picked late by Cross.
Bolo.
Nikesh says, what about wicket?
there's some wicket flash.
Don't mind that one. White zone, says Samir Katiwada. What does that one mean?
White zone.
Is that because of like the whites that cricketers are wearing instead of the red zone? Not sure that one works,
sure,
Samir.
no.
Love your thoughts.
I'm sure there's a brilliant explanation behind it. Send that out there too. White zone. You could almost think of a red zone, 3 reds, something along that line if you're looking at the DRS.
Like your hot zone shade's not a bad action
there
zone. Maybe there has to be something specific to
Open
cricket
Yes.
to kind of make sure people would know it's about cricket. 28 overs bowled, 2 for Sandeep Lamachani, 6th. It's 93 for 6. Message from Ganga Prasad Busal, who's watching on fan code in India. Great to hear from you, Ganga. Good to know what part of India you're watching on from. He said he's just wondering why Peter Della Penna is not in the commentary panel with Aman and yourself. Really enjoyed listening to the 3 of you as a trio during the T20s, but I appreciate how brilliantly you and Aman are managing the commentary between the pair of you in the longer format. It's just the way these series work, my friends. So all of the pathway events, it's just the 2 commentators for every game on ICC TV. Obviously there's budgetary implications. We've got to fly in and get set. And then for the T20s that USA Cricket were putting on, working very closely with Major League Cricket, who are helping with the series, who own the stadium here, they
Hello.
want to get three voices in, and certainly you and I really enjoyed having Peter's ubiquitous style alongside us.
Hello.
He's a great man to have around. He's a great joy. He just brings a different flavor, doesn't he? And
Hello.
you never know what he's gonna say because he always has an opinion that may be differing from yours, and maybe that's by design. But it's always brilliant to be around him and his infinite wisdom that he has amongst the associate game.
There's probably not many who know the associate game better, and it's always a different opinion, certainly to mine. I don't think we share similar views in anything, but we do get a lot of feedback. I know he's an acquired taste. I love him, but we do get a lot of feedback when me and him commentate together about the kind of Jekyll and Hyde.
It's a Tom and Jerry atmosphere, isn't it?
It very much is. I like to see the joy and the spirit and the beauty of the game, and Peter, he's cynical sometimes, but I'll tell you something, he is passionate. He does adore the game. He's not here right now. He was here for the two USA games. He's nipped off. His mum lives in South Carolina, so big shout out, Peter, if you're watching on. Nice to hear from Yub, who's watching on from Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Wow, there you go, Bowling Green, Kentucky. There's actually a college out there. They have a decent football program over there. You always hear about
Probably
Bowling
what, a
Green.
50,000 seat stadium.
I reckon you're not far off there, Lane, because it's not quite Boise State, which is kind of the pinnacle out in the Midwest, but Bowling Green, you always hear about them when you're talking college football in the area.
We're changing topic for a moment. Here's Watts battling early. How many 30,000 plus seater stadiums would there be? I haven't Googled it yet, so don't say I have. Let's have, but like, not because there's the NFL ones. We know there's 32. That's a start.
Yep.
And then I'm not going to include the indoor ones. So just we're talking about the kind of NFL or soccer based ones. There's probably another 8 or 10 dedicated ones in MLS. Although I know some of them are a bit smaller, but like the Inter Miami one's quite big.
Quite
now,
big,
isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
But they play in the same stadium
Oh,
as the
is that-
Dolphins do. A lot of them are
you sure?
multi-sport. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they play in Hard Rock Stadium,
thought
same
they-
as the Dolphins.
I thought they built a dedicated one there. Anyway, neither here nor there. Some of them have built, maybe it's LA Galaxy that have built a dedicated
I think
one.
they have, yeah.
Anyway, with the college football teams,
Hmm.
there's got at least another 50 of them, does there?
I think it's well more than that. I think most Division One football schools.
And how
would
many
have
Division One football?
Too many to name. A lot. Couldn't tell you. I think it's probably closer to the 100 mark, 100 plus Division One football programs in the country.
I wonder, can Google get us there? How many list of 30 plus the seater stadiums in USA? Okay, well, we've got a list of those with more than 10,000. Biggest in the country is that, what do they call it, the Big House
Big House, yeah.
in Michigan. So it's not an NFL
Yep.
stadium, it's the Michigan Wolverine Stadium. The second biggest is also a college.
I think the top 5 would all be college stadiums, Lenny. Maybe more than the top 10.
The top 14 stadiums in
Yeah.
the country are all NCAA stadiums. Remarkable. And 8 of those are more than 100,000 seater, which is where the MCG is at, where the one in Ahmedabad, I think it's the
Narendra Modi Stadium, yep.
Stadium. That's up in Gujarat, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
That held the World Cup final in 2023.
So I scrolled down to the bottom of the list of that. 202 stadiums are 30,000 plus. The 202nd biggest stadium in the country. 30,000 people. That's in Nashville, South Carolina. Geodis Park. And there's a couple of them that are 30,000 seater stadiums, but yeah.
Is that including the indoor ones?
Not sure. I reckon these are all, it says list of North American stadiums by capacity.
So
It could possibly.
yeah, I think I've got the ones. Oh, we're on the same one. No, I think that includes baseball. So I suppose that's into a different dimension.
Sure.
But still, quite remarkable. The resources, just the stadia round America. Incredible. Lamachani's going to continue. He's into his 7th. Scotland 95 for 6. Desperate, really, just to bat the overs. They're probably trying to not worry about the score too much. Just think, can they scrap up to 180, 190, 200? If they bat the overs, they probably will as well.
Yeah, again, it feels like it's going to get better to bat on. The sun's out. There's less clouds in the air, and again, we've seen it. When you spend time out here in the middle, there's runs to be had, and you can score runs quite quickly. You just have to give yourself the opportunity to do so. Right now, it is about a partnership. You wouldn't mind these two taking it in, which you wouldn't say this for most ODIs, but really into the 35th over before they really start advancing and really pushing the envelope.
We did bring up that topic of the NFL stadiums because of the college football, the general stadia in the States, because of that message from Bowling Green, Kentucky. That is the L.T. Smith Stadium. It hosts 23,000 people, where the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers play, the NCAA college football team. And it's not to be confused with Bowling Green, Ohio. There are two Bowling Greens.
Okay, so maybe I did confuse the two of them.
No, you didn't.
I didn't. Okay, all right.
But when I was looking for a Bowling Green in the list of stadiums, there's two of them.
Okay.
So the Bowling Green, Ohio Stadium is the Dot L. Perry Stadium, where the Bowling Green Falcons play. You talk about not being able to keep track of cricket. How do you keep track of the number of college football teams?
Again, it's very much you pick one, or you pick a conference. And I think the beauty of college football, at least, is they divide everything into conferences. They used to be very geographically aligned. So there's an ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Yeah.
All of those teams are on the East Coast. As you see the wind really picking up, and you have the Big 12, a lot of them in Texas.
Texas flag, look at the Texas flag flying there.
Always going to be around, and now with the ever expanding conferences, now you have ACC schools out, and Cal Berkeley is now an ACC school, so you have a school in California as an Atlantic Coast Conference team. They've just kind of spread it all around with new conference realignment, but
there used to be like a ranking system. I know they still have it, but that kind of decided who got to play the national championship games. Is it a bit fairer now in terms of its actually results on the pitch?
Yeah, so now this will be the first year it's been elongated to a 12-team playoff in college football. So last couple of years has been a 4-team. There's been complaints about only 4 teams. The committee's picked it, and the committee is basically just a board that watches every college football game and decides based off records and things of that nature who the best 4. Now there's 12, and so it'll be and there's 2 opportunities for non-major conference teams to get in there. It's almost the associates of the college football world. 2 of them will get an automatic bid when they win their conference to jump in.
Okay, fascinating. Probably impossible to keep track of. I can just about get my head around the NFL. Do enjoy watching it all. Just got a quick look at the Scottish batting card there. Lots of starts, but nobody kicking on. And that'll be the real disappointment for the Scottish support team here. As Sampal Kami returns to the attack, here he comes. Clipped away into the leg side. Mark Watt is a fine batter. Don't underestimate him by any stretch. He will work that away for a single to bring the 100 up in the 31st over. And Cross is a good man to have, the vice-captain down there in the middle order. Don't look too pleased right now, the Scottish bench. Michael Leask, he looks like he's still furious right there.
Again, he can't quite believe that he was given out, and this is not the way they would have imagined their innings to go, especially with the way they played against the USA. They would just look to ride some of that momentum, and that momentum hasn't shifted and gone in the direction they needed it to.
Well, Zoe's got back in touch. She said if we had a cricket red zone, I'd follow the lead and call it the cricket pitch zone. I like
Pitch
that.
zone. Yeah.
Pitch zone, maybe?
Pitch zone. A popping crease, maybe, where what's popping around the cricket scope.
Sushil K is watching on. Not sure where he's watching from. He says, such a great pleasure to be working from home, watching Nepal playing, with Andrew and Aman commentating. Nepal showing good stuff in the field. And the best part, I'm enjoying it live on ICC TV without commercials. So no ads either.
That's the beauty, isn't it?
That's a bonus.
It's a huge bonus, especially when you turn on a lot of stuff. There's always commercials. I remember a big part of the basketball conversation yesterday. We were in the arena, and they were like, we're here for 2 hours for an hour of play. We tried to talk American football with them, said, can't do that. You're there for you watch a 3-hour game to watch 60 minutes of action. Not going to happen.
Okay, I've got one more gripe or moan about the basketball we went to last night. We watched the Dallas Mavericks beat the Utah Jazz pretty comfortably. I didn't even know it was 12-minute quarters. That's how little I knew about basketball. I thought it was 15, but it was 4 12-minute quarters.
Yep.
What time did the game start at?
depends on where you are, but typically
What
7:30.
time did the game start last night?
7:30.
What time did the game finish last
I think
night?
we were there till what, 10 o'clock?
10 past 10.
Yeah.
How does 48 minutes of play take 2 hours and 40 minutes?
Well, you talked about the financials backing everything. That's what it does in American sport too. There's dedicated media timeout breaks
Oh,
to get
come
your
on,
ads in.
man.
The under 6, it's a big thing, and they're always dedicated. No matter what sport you have, there's a particular time where there's always an ad break. So it's after the third inning in baseball, no matter what there is, there's going to be an ad break after.
Oh, man, you're better than this. Come
I'm not
on.
saying it's the right thing. I'm just saying this is what happens. They're my experience of working in these sporting events. That's what it is. You're under 6 timeout. It happened yesterday. We saw the horrific injury that happened. Came off to treat him,
Broken leg,
cart him
sadly.
off. It was
Yeah,
a
that was
real
horrible.
sad event. And then they came back on to play. And then they realized, look up at the clock, it's 5:59. They're still in a media timeout. We got to come off and wait for them to come back from commercial.
31 overs bowled. 101 for 6. Saman Badal gets in touch from watching on from Bara, which is the home district of Anil Kumar Saha, I believe. He says lots of love from Nepal and happy Tihar to everyone watching. It's a lovely message. Not sure of his name. The Real says, at Cricket Badge, that list that you're talking about includes baseball and some domed football stadiums, but all in all, you're looking at about 150 outdoor stadiums with a capacity of 30,000 plus seats. Quite amazing. And Yub does indeed say, yes, our bowling green is the home of the Western Kentucky University, and there's 20k plus seating, and it gets jam-packed during college bowl games, true to the southern Midwestern culture. Down in that part of the world, like Louisiana, Kentucky, Mississippi, they love their football, don't
Oh,
they?
they're big. You come down here to Texas, it's football
Same.
all the time, and there's real culture, football culture down south.
Claxon, stop the press, it's Depender Singh Ari time, and I'm going to build them up. What are we going to see? What magic are we going to see? I think today, we haven't had a caught and bowled yet in the series as far as I'm aware. I think we're going to see a caught and bowled here from Irie, maybe to Mark Watt, as he goes a little slower through the air. Good captaincy again in terms of getting Irie in just before that second drinks break, which I think is going to come after this over, maybe just burgle a 7th wicket.
Especially as these two maybe start to look to try to put some impetus in the run scoring. Irie's such a handy bowler, especially bowling in the death, and when individuals are looking to score, trying to force runs on the board, especially with Mark Watt just seeing the ball onto the bat quite nicely now. You're just thinking maybe he can just play that touch defensive role that he's so good at doing.
Yeah, like that, tossed up by Irie. He's just going to try and buy one here. I think he'll know. I think Nepal should know that the second drinks break is coming. 2 balls to it. But Watt is a fine player, I have to say. Probably a bit of an underrated batter. And there is still batting to come. Jack Jarvis, I would absolutely consider him to be somebody who'll evolve into an out-and-out all-rounder. He might even be held back. They might hold him to number 10. Bradley Wheel is very capable. And it's really just Brad Curry who doesn't offer too much with the bat. So, no wicket yet for Irie. 3 singles from his over. It's been another good session for Nepal. Will it get us to the second drinks break? It will. We'll take a break here in the commentary box. Really enjoying having you with us. It's 104 for 6, Scotland.